How to debate the blame game on the United Nations Refugee Convention. We're here today at number 10 Furnival Street, central London, which is the headquarters of the United Nations Refugee Convention. Just like to give a big shout out to active patriots, Steve Laws, Little Veteran, Dave G, Tracy, who are all organising the demonstration at Dover on Saturday. Good luck with that. So this video is about how to debate a lefty regarding the refugee crisis at Dover. I've noticed that a lot of patriots and nationalists find it difficult to say actually we can't take any more refugees, like zero. And the reason for this is because of the left. They put the blame game onto us and say things like, how can you be so heartless? You know, these people are going to die, they're fleeing persecution. There's women and children, how could you, and I don't care. I say we're full up, we're on course to becoming a minority, we can't take any more people. But I've noticed a lot of nationalist patriots find that hard to say that. So the way to debate this is, so this United Nations Refugee Convention came in after Second World War. 1948, the Human Rights Convention was drafted. 1951, the Refugee Convention was drafted. And what is happening? These people coming into the country, they use the Refugee Convention to get into the country, and then they'll use the Human Rights Convention to prevent them being deported, held in detention camps, and then further down the line they will probably get citizenship because of these conventions. And this is where the big problem lies, and this is where we can put the blame back onto the left and back onto the communists who deliberately encouraging the native population to become a minority in our own country. So they say, how can you be so evil, this, that and the other? And look, we're all kind people. Nationalists are very caring and kind people. However, what should have happened before these conventions were drafted, what should have happened is they should have had refugee camps. So what would happen usually is, if there was refugees, they go into a refugee camp. They are never given citizenship. They should never be given British, UK nationality and a passport. They should stay in the refugee camp until it's safe for their country, until it's safe in their country to go back to it. It's as simple as that. And if their country's never safe, they stay in the refugee camp. They never are allowed to be treated the same as a UK citizen. And this is where these conventions have all come in to basically stop countries doing that. But there are some countries who do that, and one of those two of those two countries is Jordan and Lebanon. Now, there was a conflict in Israel with the Palestinians and the Israelis, and many hundreds of thousands of Palestinians fled their homeland, and they are now in refugee camps in in Lebanon and Jordan, which is outside Israel. Now, this conflict happened about 30 years ago, and these Palestinians are still in these refugee camps. So, and the reason they're in the refugee camps, presumably, is because Jordan and Lebanon will not give them citizenship. Why should they? It's their country. They know that if they do that, it's going to weaken their country, so they don't do it. And unfortunately for the Palestinians, they can't go back to their homeland. Israel won't let them go back. So that's another good argument you can put to the left, because they're all saying that all these people coming in at Dover should be given asylum and then full citizenship and then stay here for life and become UK citizens. So one thing you can say to them, do you think that the Palestinians should be given Jordanian citizenship and Lebanese, and forget about going back to their country, which is Palestine. So that's one thing you can use. The second one, so the blame game is the reason we can't help any more people. And when I say help, I only mean put them in refugee camps, and they stay there until their country's safe to go back. And if their country is never safe, they stay in the refugee camp. They don't become UK citizens. So another big part of the blame game is the actual refugees who have been given citizenship in this country, and their countries are safe now. So the blame game's got to go to them as well. The reason we can't take any more desperate women and children to help these desperate women and children is because of millions, literally millions, of refugees who were given asylum in this country and given full citizenship, and they're still living here, and they've got all their families here. And here's a list of some of the countries that are safe to go back, and we've had hundreds of thousands of these people come here and settle here permanently. So you've got Libya, Sierra Leone, Colombia, Vietnam, Sudan, Bosnia, Cambodia, Iraq, Liberia, Syria and Kosovo. I've met people from every one of those countries. On an individual basis, they're good people, but the blame game has got to go to them, because those countries are safe, and the reason we can't help any more desperate people is because these people have taken up all the resources and all the room, and advanced the crisis we are in as the native population, that we're going to become a minority. So the blame game goes to those people who could go back to their safe countries, and then we'd have a few more resources. Maybe we could have made refugee camps for desperate people, but we can't take any more now. It's a epidemic. It's a crisis. So going back to the United Nations Human Rights Convention, I'm just going to read you out some of the articles of how they basically destabilised many countries. So Article 13 of the Human Rights Convention: everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state. Everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own, and to return to his country. That's Article 13. Now that clearly says, like, foreigners have got rights over the host country. Article 14. Everyone has the right to seek and to enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. So, someone turns up your doorstep, meaning the country, you just can't do anything about it. And Article 15, everyone has the right to a nationality. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality nor denied the right to change his nationality. That one there basically turns the world upside down in terms of nation states, because these articles are all backed up by the International War Crimes Criminal Courts. So no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality nor denied the right to change his nationality. So that's just like basically saying countries don't exist, and this is signed up by practically every country in the world. So the people who created this United Nations were probably communists, in my opinion, because they want one world government, no borders, and the problem is, like I said, there is an International War Crimes Court. So people say, "I'll just turn the boats away" and things like that, but in the back of the minds of the admirals, the commanders, they probably remember people like Slobodan Milosevic and many people have been convicted for war crimes. For example, if you turn the boat away and the people sunk and the people drowned, that's going to be in the back of your mind. This convention it's not just some bit of paper. This is a serious thing. So before this United Nations Refugee Convention came into practice, most countries, they would never be giving citizenship to people. Simple as that. And our country's being destroyed, and it's a crisis, and we have to exit the 1951 UN Refugee Convention, and that's the only way it's going to be solved, because you know, people keep calling them illegals. They're doing it all within the law. And until we campaign to leave the UN and actually leave it, we're never going to be able to reinstore our borders of our country. Thanks for listening.